Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rainy Toon Talk. And tonight we have another face of the North East football scene, Andrew. Andrew, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Not a problem. Nice to see you, lads.
Excellent. Got a lot of questions to go through. Again, a lot of interest with the local lads coming onto the show now and kind of getting behind the careers of the North East game and what goes on as well. So really interested in what you've got to say tonight. So we're going to go through some early days with Stephen first.
Yeah. Andy, growing up, was football always the main love that you had? And how did you kind of get into that kind of thing?
It was definitely my main love. It wasn't something that family had pushed us into or anything like that. As my dad will tell everyone, he was rubbish at football. My uncle was big into his football, but obviously I didn't see him as much as the rest of the family. So it was more just old-fashioned, old school in the streets playing football with lads, like 4, 5, 6 years older than you, and it's like how most people would have started football back then.
It's the best way.
It is. I mean, it's daft now. The FA is sort of encouraging age groups to mix and to help player development when we've been doing that all along without even having to have it down in a textbook or anything like that. But I just probably the same as most lads back then. It was in the streets. And I was lucky my parents would push us into things, not push us in a bad way, but the scene I liked that they would get us to training sessions or what used to be like the advanced development stuff at Benwell with Rob Atkin and coaches like that. So you know, I was helped along the way, which obviously
was it kind of encouraged like with football camps and stuff that you used to attend and stuff like that?
I started off. I remember me. My dad, I must have been about 5, 6 year old, saying, you go on this football course, and it was at the old at Montague. That's where they used to do just like a Saturday morning thing. And I just go there like any kid would, and just loved it. I think my coaches then were Peter and Paul Winsper. I don't know if you'd ever came across them.
Yes, yeah, Paul.
I can't remember which one it was because of both of them. I've obviously coached at the time. You know, that's just where it started, really, down at Monty for the football development scheme, just going on the little courses there. And it sort of spiraled quite quick from going along to them.
Yeah. Early on in your career, you played for the likes of Darlington and Constant. I think Wrighton was one of the other ones. What was the Northern League like there when you first broke onto the scene?
It was weird for me because obviously you had like your dreams ended of being a pro footballer. I went to Bishop Auckland first, right. And I think it was the old Unibond, it might have been at the time.
Oh yes, yeah.
Brian Honor was manager. I think I'm sure Mark Sheeran was there at the time. Shazi. They should like come from that training every day. I don't think I was even training for Bishop Auckland. Just turning up the games, travelling to places like Leek Town and stuff like that on a Wednesday night, and it just wasn't for me. It was. I suppose I was still trying to get my head around what I was going to do next after then. I went to, I think, on Bishop Auckland. I think it was Morpeth I went to after then. Sort of quite hitty missy at the start when I got in the Northern League. I didn't realise how big it was, to be honest. To me, I was just playing football and getting a bit of money and going to college and doing whatever I was doing. Wasn't sort of till later on. Wasn't really like I got to Dunstan I realised like what was there to be achieved.
Yeah. Obviously when you broke onto the scene there as well, I bet you come across some really tough tackling centre halves, did you?
I remember one of my first games. Centre half, I can't remember who it was. Elbowed us straight in the face, and I was going off it. And I'm looking around, and everyone's just like, "What's the matter with you?" Like, even your own teammates, I'm like, excuse me, I'm going, fucking hell, is this what I'm getting me into? But funny enough, one of my training sessions at Darlington, Mick Tate was one of the coaches. Lovely bloke Mick, but as a lot of people know, he was a total different animal on the football pitch. And they were teaching us how to like basically elbow people when I jump for headers.
Right.
I never realised till I went to Northern why
Yeah.
why I was getting taught that. You know, not teach you to elbow people, but to look after yourself. You know what I mean? When you're jumping for headers, it was never something that intimidated. I've never been bothered about anything like that. I was always obviously I've mellowed a bit now, but I was quite an aggressive player. So if someone done that to me, it just riled us up more. Probably made us try harder, to be honest. But funny enough, I was talking about this to Bryce Smith, and obviously Bryce was a big centre half who I played against, about some of the centre halves and the defenders you'd come across back then. And looking back, I just imagine like a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, especially at Dunstan, coming up to face like Chris Swales and Michael Robson. I was thinking, what on earth have we got with selling? I mean, they both didn't look the best either. The funniest of lads, they won't mind us saying that, but as well as being quality players, they didn't mess about, didn't take any prisoners. But that was pretty much the same across the Northern League, wherever you went. But it was fair though. It was hard and it was fair. The same person who's just been kicking the crap out of each other for 90 minutes, and you'd be laughing about it, shaking hand after the game and having a pint in the bar, you know. So it was.
Did you kind of leave that on the field once you crossed the white line, so to speak? Just left it on the pitch?
I think always, and I've had some right old battles and some confrontation on the pitch, but I can't think of it ever spilling. Maybe there's a bit handbags in the tunnel or something like that, but as soon as you've got showered and that, I've never known anything really, not just from me, from anybody. I've certainly not experienced it, and it's how it should be as well.
Definitely, yeah.
It's maybe I've just been lucky in my experiences, but I've certainly not come across it myself at all.
You've scored goals pretty much everywhere you've went, Andy. Was it an easy decision to join Dunstan at that time when you signed for them?
It was a weird time because I'd been at Wrighton in the season. I was there for 2 seasons. My first season, I joined them from Consett. I won the Golden Boot in the second division.
Right.
It was like 46 goals in 43 games. Then they changed managers, and the manager that came in, probably the worst manager I've ever come across in my life. I'll not name him because they'll start spitting dummies out. But for some reason, he didn't like us, and I think he thought he had to chip the knot off my shoulder when really all he had to do was just keep encouraging us to do what I was doing. You know what I mean? It was even if I wasn't having good games, I was scoring goals. You know, so maybe a bit of it was bad management on their behalf, but so that was like an interrupted season. And Barry Fleming and Porky came in, 2 great lads. Near the end of the season, and we managed to get Wrighton promoted, which was obviously the goal at the start. But like the end of the season, it just didn't feel right after the year I had. And I think it was Tony Harrison was actually the person that messages saying, "Do you fancy Dunstan?" And obviously at the time they were known as a top team in the Northern League. Well, always have been. I think they'd not long just won the league, but back to back as well. And funny enough, the manager who I'll not name, had messages before he left saying, "You'll never play for a big Northern League team, and you'll never achieve anything in the game." So,
fracas, isn't it?
Shows you who was right, doesn't it?
It does, like to be fair.
I played for him. I played on a Harrow at Prudhoe. He was manager at Prudhoe when I left Morpeth because I'd done the pre-season at Morpeth. Was flying top goal scorer pre-season. I just got dropped straight away, and it wasn't bad attitude. I just wanted to play football. I didn't care where it was. I just wanted to play football. And Harrow had signed us to Prudhoe, and obviously time had passed. He ended up at Dunstan with Billy and Perry Briggs. And he rang us and just said, "Look, we're looking for someone who runs in behind, pace, scores goals. Would you fancy it?" And I was like, "I definitely would." Took quite a big pay drop as well to go there, but like I say, I wasn't bothered. It's not something that's ever really bothered us in Northern League football. It was just going to play for a big Northern League team, and turned out to be probably the best decision I ever made.
class, like absolutely brilliant. I'll pass you over to Rainey now, pulling it. Because I know he's got a few questions there for you as well.
I'm just laughing still at that. The stories like you say when the 16, 17 come against some of the centre backs. I used to go and watch Durham City play a lot, and I've seen some centre backs come up there against the young lads, like you say, elbows and headbutts. So I'm still laughing at that. I always remember as well. God rest his soul, Gary Pearson obviously passed away a few weeks ago, but I always remember. I think I was 16 at the time. I was playing for Sherburn against Hetton Lions. And it was one of my first games against him, and the ball came to us, and I let it run through my legs, and it went through his legs. And I think I turned to try and get away from him. He just booted me back of my leg. And he just kind of picked us up and just said, "Don't try that again, son." But he patted us on the head and said, "Well, that was all right." And it was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, but it's just little things like that you grow up with, don't you?
Funny enough, I played with when I was at Brighton when that manager came and I got loaned out to Sunderland Nissan, and Gary was there at the time. Brilliant lad.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't spend nowhere near the time a lot of other people did, but even in that short space of time, like his personality and the lad he was rubbed off on you. Crackers as well, mind. Probably one of the funniest. So just what you needed in the changing room, though. You know what I mean? It takes your mind off things and gets you in a good mood. And obviously, like when I'd heard about what had happened, it's one of them where you ask Gaz who, because you didn't expect it to be.
Yeah.
Someone of his age or him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a shock.
Shock to everybody, and the game's lost a top bloke. And like I say, funny enough, the first game Bilham Town had was against us in pre-season. So it was good that we could get a big crowd in and get some money for his family. And obviously, like bit of a memory for him and his family afterwards as well. So it was nice we could do that. And obviously, I don't know his family, but I wish them all the best, and everyone, all his close friends and family as well, because you had quite a lot of people close to him as well who weren't family. So, but he was certainly one of them. I would name 10, 11, 12, 13 of them, but all lads I've seen now, I'd be having a pint with or having a big crack with, and that's one of the best things of, especially in Northern League football, that happens.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Best part, isn't it? Thanks for watching, Graham. If you came, get your comments in as well. Moving on to Dunstan as well, 2008. You end up playing 7 seasons there, scoring over 200 goals, finishing top goal scorer pretty much every season. Was it just a club that you fell in love with?
It was a massive learning curve for us, because I always struggled with not so much my attitude. I didn't know how to deal with certain things. In my defence was either aggression or I'd like speak out when I shouldn't. But there was that many top lads in that changing room that didn't they knew I had something, but they wouldn't have a go at us. They wouldn't like dismiss us or freeze us out. They would just come and have a word and say, "Look, next time try this," or maybe you should have done that. And I think I was 21 at the time, I think, when I signed. Even like Matt Yannon, God bless him as well, sports therapist, you can't call him a physio because he didn't like that. Even he had a massive influence on us, talking to us, understanding what he would understand why I'd be losing my head a bit. And there was people like that all around the club committee as well, all wanted the best for you, and probably the right club at the right time. And obviously it didn't take as long to fall in love with the club and want to achieve everything I possibly could there. So, just a load of good people who understood how to treat people, how to talk to people, and it certainly got the best out of me.
No, definitely. I mean, like you say, I think that's all about the characters. And I mean, that's the next one. You go to the season 2012, and a great season for the club. And was it kind of just the players that was brought in, or was just overall the club itself, the staff and the players and everyone involved that season?
We only brought 2 players in that season, which was Chris Swales and my best pal Stephen Shaw. I'm sure that's the only 2 that came in that season. It'd been building for probably from the moment I got there. I never had my wildest imagination that would win the Vase. I just thought it was just an FA competition you played in. You had to have part of the season. And we played Chalfont St Peters in the last 16, I think it was. We got beat 5-4. after extra time, it was just one of them games where everything probably went wrong. Players sent off, keeper dropping bollocks, things like that. I remember walking off after the game, and Mike Robson was sitting on the floor. And I tell you, Robbo, he went, "Fuck off, boy, you haven't got many more chances to win this." I was like, I can see if he thinks we can win this, him.
Aye.
And then from then, it's sort of like, I think Whitley Bay might have been the first of the 3 years they won it, if I might be wrong. I've seen them win it, then win it again. And I'm playing again, I think, we can do it, I can do this, we can do this.
Yeah.
In each year was sort of, it was like building, we're getting further and further near to it. And obviously the season before, Whitley Bay beat in the quarter final, and we just lost Matty the week before. And we're probably the better team on the day, and I think Whitley Bay would admit that. And Whitley Bay has done what Whitley Bay had done at the time, and they just knew how to win games in the Vase. But I think that quarter final probably was the one that taught everybody that we could actually achieve it. And you had lads who who'd been together for about 3-4 years, because the team never changed much at Dunstan. Any manager could write the team down for you before a game, tell you exactly what we're going to do, but there wasn't much people could do about it. And then obviously them two great additions as well, and Chris Swales and Stevie Shaw was probably just like the final bits in the puzzle.
Oh, definitely. There's one stat I've got to ask you about before we mention the Wembley. I mean, I've seen it somewhere that you scored in every single round of the FA Vase before discovery 2 goals in the final. Is that correct that season? Because that's some stat if it's true.
It's not actually. So the record was held by Ian Crumplin and Paul Chow for scoring scoring a goal in every round. Mine was scoring a goal in every single game. So both the replays,
right,
and the double-legged semi. It was something I didn't even know about till you start getting favour on them. Like fans pop out and bring it up. I remember being in the BBC studio with Billy. I think it was before the semi-final, and it got brought up. And I can't remember that who's Irish. Was it an Irish bloke, isn't it, who does the one of the shows? Was like laughing, going, "You've still got 3 games to play yet." Like, I wouldn't do it. I wish I could remember who he was. I'd like to have dropped him a message to I've done it, but again, like, even if I didn't do it, if I didn't score at Wembley as much as I wanted to, I didn't care. I just wanted to win it. That's bad for me to say, because I'm a typical greedy centre forward who wants all the glory. But I couldn't think of anything worse than getting through all of that and then getting beat. To me, you might as well just got beaten in the first round.
Oh, exactly.
It's like the old saying that no one remembers the runner-up, and it's probably a true saying as well.
Definitely. Eve Niall, thank you very much for watching. And getting on to the final, for me, I love my non-league football. I always remember that season. A lot of people look at it, West Orton versus Dunstan, but myself being a striker, I always look at Moffat versus yourself. And I think that was kind of the post of the advertisement when they're obviously doing things for BBC. It was kind of yourselves who would outscore each other in the final, really. How was it kind of doing all the programs and the press stuff? That must have been quite exciting for yourself.
It really helped us, to be honest. I mean, if you had Mickey Ray up front as well. That thing I was talking about. I was talking to Gary Holmes about it the other day. There used to be you'd have about 10, 12 teams realistically had a chance to win the Northern League, but you had about 5, 6 strikers who were hitting 40 plus every year from different teams, which you don't see now. And as you go into that final, you had to go down for a press day. I think it was a couple of weeks before. It was at Wembley Stadium, so you're in the changing rooms and pictures and all that carry on. But you're out on the pitch and stuff like that. But it really helped me because I'd seen it. So when I was going down on the day, it wasn't going to be anything new to us. It was, I took it all in. I'd seen the size of the ground. I knew where I was getting changed. I'd even been under where the bus would come in. So it helped me massively. I said to myself as well before the game, like, whatever happens. I'm going to give me lots. Just don't worry about it. Just go and enjoy it. It's what you've worked your backside off for years with the lads. Just go out and enjoy it, and what happens, what it'll be. And as it turns out, it couldn't have been any better, really.
quite special, wasn't it? I mean, like you say, you win 2-0, score both goals, come off the last minute of a round of applause. I mean, you can't get any better than that, really, can it?
I think, to be honest with you, I should have had a hat-trick. That's probably the only thing
Right.
that bothers us about it. But
Yeah.
obviously, I wouldn't change anything for the world. It was probably as perfect as it could get. I've hit the bar, but a lot of people don't realise Belly's actually saved that. He's got a finger to it onto the bar. But he's another great lad as well. So I thought I'd mention that because it looks like I've just cracked the bar, but he hasn't. He saved it. I think I had one I went through. I actually pulled my groin, won the chances before my second.
Right.
When I've opened up and put it wide. I put it over. And there was one Robbo's put it through 1-on-1. I should have scored, but like you see, that Dunstan team, if you went one up, you'd be very lucky if you could score past with it to go 2 up. You would never scoring 3, let alone 2. So that's probably the worst thing that could happen to you against a Dunstan team would be to concede against them, because we could score 1 and we would happily defend for 90 minutes and you wouldn't get past with.
Yeah.
I think if you looked at the results over the years, there'd be very, very few games where we lost by would conceded more than 2. Would have been beat obviously, but there'd be not many times people put more than 2 past with. That's more probably from Billy's mentality, being a centre half his career, but it wasn't just that. The whole team worked the backside off, even at the top. Like me and Preeny be pestering people, or Goddard, whoever was up top of us, would start there, and it would obviously the further back you got, the horrible it got for you. It was you had to get through past Kane and Dick, then Swaz and Robbo or Ben Catnack. It wasn't easy for you. So
No, cracking squad it was. Then back to Stephen with a few more questions as well there.
I just talking about Wembley again. What was that feeling like walking out at Wembley onto the pitch in front of the Dunstan fans?
It's the most relaxed I've ever been in my life.
Really?
I still get more like butterflies now playing with Blue Star against that even knew exist. Like I said, I sort of had a word with myself the night before, and there's a great picture. I was got a big smile on my face, and like, this is what it's all been for. And I've been fortunate, like through my youth career and stuff, to play in front of some big crowds as well, through FA Cup, Youth Cup runs and representing the county and things like that. So probably helped us a bit as well. To be honest with you, I find it easier with a bigger crowd because you can't hear the one man, his dog, telling you exactly what he thinks. You know what I mean? You can't really pick anything out in front of big crowds. But like you see, obviously, I'd fallen well in love with the club by then, and I knew what it meant to the committee and everyone involved, and not just the players. And I could have probably went in the crowd and knew pretty much everyone's name who was there watching as well, because it's quite a close-knit club. And just great just to represent them and to win something they've never won before. And I mean, you've gone up the stairs and half the committee were crying, and you're like, you're trying to hold the tears back yourself. But no, just a dream come true in it. It's just to get to Wembley, but the score, play there, win with your team in front of your fans. It's just as perfect as you can get, really.
Stuff of dreams, isn't it?
Apart from that hat I should have
had. Just again, touching a little bit on it. Obviously, I know goals win games in football, but was it a mixture of management and the players coming together as one to get the actual win in the final?
Billy didn't really have to say much to it, to be honest, because like I mentioned before, the lads, we knew what the team was going to be before we went out. The only issue we had was, I say it's an issue, it wasn't really to us, was Pick Hazard picked up a double hernia, I think, on the semi-final. So like Pick Hazard would have been right back, but our replacement was to bring Robbo in and put Ben Catnack right back, the club captain. So you're replacing a great player with a great player. So that was the only issue we had. Going out there, we knew what we had to do. We knew Gods knew he would be winning the aerial battles, and I'd be coming off him. We just needed to stay in the game as long as we could, really. And to be honest with you, we sort of cancelled each other out till the goal came. From probably the most Dunstan goal you could ever score, Liam Connell booming it, Gods winning the header, me lobbing the keeper. But I think both goals came that way, actually. It was from Connell to Gods to me. And if that's probably what would have frustrated West Orton, that they knew that's what we'd be looking for.
Yeah.
They'd probably be putting me in behind or going long direct and push, like getting right up and making it difficult for people to get out. So no, like I say, I believe it got that point that we've been together so long, done so much together. I'm sure that was like something like was 60 odd game of the season as well.
Really?
It was something mad like that. It was one of them, just sort of like we mentioned earlier. It was just everything that came together at the right time. People were peaking at the right time. The experience was in the right places. Just sort of perfect timing, really.
Right. That's class, man, isn't it? Just listen, hearing about it's just brilliant. Like, obviously you left Dunstan after 7 seasons. I believe you went to, was it Shields you went to?
That's right.
Was that a decision you made yourself, or how difficult of a decision was it?
It wasn't a good break from the club.
Right.
I'd made my opinion on something which a couple of our players who'd been there for a while had, and they didn't agree with it. Moving to South Shields is probably the only time I've probably made a decision for the wrong reason. In the respect of it was for money. I had to leave Dunstan. I was leaving Dunstan no matter what. I had other options, but I didn't leave Dunstan for the money. I was going. And don't get us wrong, I enjoyed it at South Shields. It was a different experience. There was great people there. I didn't leave on bad terms with anybody. The fans were great as well. I loved speaking to them. I was getting married at the time, and I was like, I can't really turn that down. It's probably the first time I've been a bit selfish towards myself, and it just got to the point where I wasn't enjoying the football side of things. And I went to Ashton from there, but I think I was playing at Ashton, so just wanted to go and really play with a mate, really. But like I say, so that was the first year South Shields had Jefford came in. Everything was like the ball was starting to roll there. You could see everything that was going to happen was great. People were great, and I just went in, had a word, I said, look, it's not for me, and they went, no, look, we agree with you, and it was just things were sorted out amicably in the way it should be. But the Dunstan one was just me personally, and a couple of other lads could see the changing room. They brought a lot of new players in that year.
Right.
A couple of them bad apples, and that changing room had spent years building up together. I could see it getting broken apart. The sort of morals we went by weren't getting ran by in that way by these people coming in. So I think Dick might have went before me, actually. Not long after us, one of the two, for similar reasons, really. I forget what I was going to say there. As it turns out, I think Dunstan had the worst season they've had for a long time. It's not one of them where you want to go. I told you so. It's because you don't want to see a club you love do bad, but see it coming in. I think if Billy was on, you'd probably see it. That's probably why I made a couple of mistakes, not getting rid of me, but some of the people he brought in. But that's football. Sometimes you've got to try and change things. I mean, I remember Billy had an aging team as well. Like a lot of the back four, and Kane were I think might have retired actually. I think Kane might have retired that year. Robbo might have retired as well. So you did have to bring people in. Just one of them where a couple that came in didn't exactly fit the Dunstan mould, and Dunstan committee and managers will tell you that they have their philosophy about people that come in and what they do, and if you don't go like anywhere, really, Eddie Howe's doing it now. If you don't go by his philosophy or his mentality, it doesn't work. You don't have a good change room. That's the importance of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But all that's pushed aside a long time ago now, and I always enjoy going back there and seeing everybody and reminiscing and things like that. So,
class. Again, obviously you touched on playing for Ashton as well as Whickham. Have you got any memories from your times both of those clubs? Anything that sticks out?
I think at Ashton it was, and I've said this because I get on well with Hormy. I was a bit dubious with, obviously I'm thinking, well, what's he done in football? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yes, he's obviously one of the best athletes to grace the country, and what he's achieved is unbelievable. But I was a bit dubious, but I spoke to Dicker, and I'm not going to get a better reference on a club or people than Dicker, someone I trust, probably more than anybody in football. And I went there, and the minute I spoke to Steve, I knew that he was a top bloke. Probably the best man manager I've worked with.
Right.
I say that because Billy didn't really have to manage anybody. It looked after itself.
Right.
Apart from when I was working myself and he'd have to pull us to the side now and then. But Steve was a great man manager, and you could see he'd been in professional change rooms all his career, the way he spoke to people, the way he got his point across. I wasn't the biggest fan of his number 2, which I made that very clear a couple of occasions. But it's, when I was there as well, I was sort of starting. It was like a bit of a transition in the way I played. Like the year after the Vase, I had a double hernia operation.
Right.
So obviously I lost a yard of pace off that. When I went to Ashton, it was probably the time when I was sort of having to change my game a bit. It was good to be there with Steve, because I think he could see that. I had to try and learn different things, all the things that I was crap at, I was now having to get good at, because the thing I was good at, I was starting to lose. Still make me runs in behind, but it was getting harder to get there and things like that. But I enjoyed it there, and the only reason I left Ashton was because I had a disagreement with that individual who picked the wrong person to do something to. So, but again, left on good terms with Steve. I was speaking to him. He was at the Ashton Blue Star friendly the other day. Always great to catch up with him as well, because he just loves his football. Probably, I think people would be surprised of his knowledge and his enthusiasm for non-league football.
Yeah.
When anyone will tell you, talk to Steve, you're there for a long time, but he'll be telling us about players I've never even heard of in non-league football, and he's been to this game, that game, and you're like, well, how do you get the time to do that when you're everywhere? But he just loves it. He breathes and sleeps it. So I was good time to be there. Then it was actually Blythe Town I went to after Ashton. And again, funny as was enjoying it there as well, doing well. It was funny with Boza Andy Bowman was in charge with Mickey. 2 great lads, doing well, enjoying it, and they left, and it was more to do with the owner of the club at the time. I think his name was Barry. He left, and I went on my honeymoon, and they announced a new manager, and it was the lad from Ashton who I didn't agree with. So,
Always happens, doesn't it?
I'm not going to play it with him. Not a chance. But just to put it like, in the way this person was, he should have just messaged us, even if it was a message saying, "Look, and I'm not going to play it for us. I'm putting you on the transfer list. Are okay? Alright, not about that. I'll have the decency to give us a call." None of that. I'm in the airport at Edinburgh looking at me. Andrew Bulford has been transfer listed for this person is just all about them, and it's funny because he's never kicked the ball in his life. People like myself who played the game sort of see through him. But honestly, that I knew that was coming. That tells us all I need to know about the person. Didn't you have the decency to have the balls of ringers and just say it? It would have been a 30-second conversation. Yep, I'm not going to play for you anyway, so I'll just put on the transfer list, no bother. But not even that. So I'd played against Whickham that season with Blythe, and I knew some of the lads anyway from obviously playing for Dunstan. They would watch us and being out with my mates and stuff like that. I just liked the way they played. They were just a bit like Dunstan-esque. Worked hard with each other, all mates. I text Robin. I mean, my last was doing nothing. Like, I'm texting people on my honeymoon, but just saying like, would you like us to like come and like play with you? Because I'm leaving there, you know. I think he was a bit shocked, to be honest, that I'd messaged him. And he gives a quick bell. I just went, look, I like the mentality, the ways we're playing and stuff like that, and it's closer to where I live. It's close to where I live. Like he was going, look, what do you even pay? I'm not bothered about money. You know, I've got me and my wife do well with ourselves. I said, I just want to go and play football where I enjoy it. And he was like, no problem. And went along, and turned out to be, well, we ended up getting promoted. So
Well,
I couldn't move. I think it was the first time they'd been back in the first division for a hell of a long time. And I enjoyed it. The lads were great crack, and I still speak to a lot of them now, and it's what it should be about. I mean, it was probably a massive step for Whickham because there was no way they were ready to go into the first division. As I found out, as I went in to help Robin as his number 2 and stuff like that. But lucky enough, they're still there now, and they're flying at the minute, which is great to see. Played them pre-season as well. Personally, probably the best team we played pre-season. I'd expect them to win something this year, even if it was just a cup or have a good run the Vase, because they're a well organised, hard-working, physical team. And Tony's done a cracking job since he's went in there, and it's hopefully they do kick on, because I'd like to see that.
Yeah, so I think they've got a canny under 23 side there as well, haven't they? Got a lot of the youth players pushing through.
They're putting a lot into that now in the junior level. Obviously, we'll get into a bit about the coaching I do now. I've got a couple of kids who play up there now, and they're absolutely loving it, and they speak very highly of it. It's hard for Whickham. People don't understand how hard the logistics side of things are for Whickham because of the cricket pitch and the land around Whickham. It was looked at trying to find somewhere else to maybe build a ground or have a ground. There's not much land in Whickham to do anything like that. And if there is, it come at a canny cost because it's quite an affluent area as well. So what they're doing with probably the limited resources they have at the minute is excellent, and in the way it should be as well. I hope, like you say, that they're starting to reap some of the benefits from it, getting lads come through.
So I think that's the way it should be in all, isn't it?
It is.
Just moving on later on in your career, how did the move to Blue Star come about?
Obviously, I was Robin's assistant, and Robin resigned, and obviously we went with him. And it was Preeny was obviously the manager at the time with Kenny. I'd speak to Preeny quite often anyway, but he was straight on the phone, and I was like, by then I was thinking about retiring anyway. And Preeny would just come down, have a bit of crap with me and Bestie and that, and went down seeing what they were doing, literally 5 minutes from my door. Did I speak to Kenny? I didn't speak to Kenny actually till I went to training, but just everything was just right for us, and I'd only be playing 1 game a week as well. Obviously, I had a little in now, and at the time, or 2 now, but I had 1 at the time. It just made sense and freed up some more time for me. And obviously, I want to help get them in the Northern League. That was the whole point, is going there.
Yeah.
And we were going to do that till COVID hit. I think we're top of the league, and I mean, Blythe were hot on the tails, but the chances are we were going up. The last bombshell obviously affected a lot of non-league football, and
it was shocking.
Just got to be grateful that your club's still there now after what's happened to some of the clubs.
Yeah, it's a shame what's happened to some of them, like, isn't it? Obviously, having personal experience being down at Blue Star, what they're doing down there is absolutely phenomenal, and it's kind of the scary pace, isn't it?
Probably, and Bestie and them will tell you, probably which went too fast, but what you do, it's like if you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it's trying to get the infrastructure in there to help support it, and that's probably been the hardest part so far. You've got people want to come in and set teams up like for different age groups, and that's great, but where do we put you? The clubs, that ground now, and the club setup is easily a Division 1 setup in the Northern League, easily. Fan bases where you've seen it yourself. Friday night games over 1,000 every time. That's Northern Ireland. Get with the Northern League and some Vase runs and things like that, and it's going to be mental. And it's just a learning curve every day, because obviously a lot of the people in the club at the minute haven't any experience yet, and they're learning as each day goes on.
Yeah.
But like you say, they'll get there. We'll know we'll get there. It's just a shame it's been like sort of been stitched the last 3 seasons going up with not using points per game the first season, then starting the second season playing about 7 games, then using points per game, and that.
No, we lost. Lost him for a second there. Well, yeah, Statman Stubbs, thank you very much for your support. Really appreciate this. Yeah, we're just on about Newcastle. Blue Star, you're asking there. Yeah, great club, great setup, and I think a lot of former Newcastle players kind of getting involved. I'm sure Lee Clark's there. I'm sure he's got something to do with it, hasn't he?
He was, when I was there last season, I believe. I think he was the director of football before he got the move abroad. But I know the Longstaff brothers, they've both been down there just watching the game. So has Darlow and Shelby, if I remember rightly. They get doing it. Honestly, the crowds down there is absolutely huge, man. It's ridiculous. They're very much a club on the up and up. Like, best of luck to them as well. Like,
it's class. Like you said, it's just good support the local football, isn't it? Really good. Really good.
Just not about the setup down the Blue Star, like seeing them crowds that gets it's scary, isn't it?
Oh, if you get a Vase, like if you get in the Nova, you get a Vase run, it's going to be mental.
Huge.
It's like, I mean, we had a pre-season game at Tadcaster. We had 5 buses. Loads of, I mean, it dropped to 2 with COVID and the Euros and the bar, like, but it's great. There isn't a team in the area this side of the water. There's nothing. I think the nearest was maybe West Slotman when they used to play up at the Wheatsheaf. We obviously don't now. It's just great for the area. I mean, like not just football side of things. There's people getting like little jobs in the bars or when the events are on. It's obviously the coaches are starting to put a lot of emphasis on getting the coaches support as well, and obviously the benefits of that will be seen in the junior setups.
Definitely.
Going places, just one, like you say, it's going that quick. Sometimes it's hard to manage, but we'll get there.
It's massive for the community, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, like if it wasn't for the manager of the assistant manager of Prada Town not knowing what the offside rule was, would be in the Northern League now. I mean, it was a hard decision to make. There was only 7 people playing the lad on side, but I scored the winner. But the less we say about that, the better. We'll see them next year when we go up.
Aye. I know you have tried to retire recently. Trying to persuade us to come back, haven't they? Because I think you had a couple of games in charge of running the team as well, didn't you, if I remember rightly?
I obviously when Liam and that left, but funny enough, I'd retired. I'd seen me mate have a horrendous leg break at Ponteland. Like a lad who I grew up with through football, and same like young family like me. I think it was like 14 seconds left in the game. We were beating them 3-1, and I'm sure I'd done his femur, kneecap, Achilles at the lot. I just thought, what am I doing? Like, if that was me, I'm buggered. And I'd spoke to Bestie, and he wanted someone to go and help with the reserves with Doddsy, and I went, look, I need to be doing something. I'm not like retiring and not doing out. So he said, go in there. That's no problem. I'll be happy with that. Because we're looking at trying to get everyone sort of get the reserves, first team, 18 and stuff involved a bit more. And about 2 weeks later, I think I was in charge, like not in charge, but at one reserve game, I was driving back from work and I get a phone call saying, a message saying, off Dodgy, are you putting your boots back on then? I was like, what's he on about? What you on about, like? I said, the guns are, like, the management team's gone. I was like, oh, yeah. And he rang us and will he give Dean a hand with the first team, etc. I was like, it's no bother. Like, if whatever you need, I'll help you with. I can't remember which game it was. I had no intention to play. It might have been the Prada one. Was that the first game? No, sorry. We had a cup game at Willett and Key, I think it was. Then when next Lions game was Prada at home. And I wasn't even meant to be on the bench. Someone had let me down, so I had to put myself on the bench. I had no intention of even playing. we're getting beat 1-0. I put myself and young Armours on, a lad who would seen the reserves doing well. Got it back to 1-1, which this lad also tried to flag offside. But even I was 10 yards onside, looking if the referee overruled him with that. And I flicked the ball on. Kids knocked off the line, but then our young Armours, 16-year-old on his debuts, scored what should have been the winner. We're off celebrating. This linesman's assistant manager came on the pitch saying offside, and the refs believed him. So there's been a bit of a obviously argument going on. One of their players has got me face, went chest to chest with him. He's chucked himself on the floor. I've been sent off. The same lad who had admitted that I never headbutted him, but wouldn't tell the FA. I just put a little email in. Personally, he's done his, and it happens in football. You know what I mean? But you put it right after. Take you 2 seconds just to say, look, it was chest to chest. You got it wrong. Champion knee bar. So anyway, that goal gets ruled out. They go up the field. They kick the ball out for a goal kick. Referee gives a corner. The score win 2-1.
Bit of pill to swallow, isn't it?
It is. But this is what I mean. Like I've spoke about earlier on about people who haven't played the game. I know this lad who was on the line. He'll not even have played for his school team.
Right.
He won't even have played for his school, and I know this is pretty much a fact. So I've had words after the game saying, do you realise what you've done? I said, you haven't just cheated with. I said, there's a 16-year-old lad there who's been buzzing, with a massive smile on his face today just to be there. He scored the winner of his team, and you've took that away from him because you've been cheating. I haven't cheated. I went, well, you've either cheated or you don't know the offside rule.
Yeah.
And I said, personally, I think it's both. And that's just that. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about it then. And this lad who's actually involved with Dunstan. And I laugh when I say I couldn't. When you see something, you're like, how on earth? Clubs entertaining him. That's the world we live in now. It's they seem to give UEFA qualifications out just for the crack now. Instead of, I didn't even realise this till I was talking to someone the other day that you can't feel it now. Whereas when I done it, it was right. There's no time frame on it, which just beggars belief. But you know, you want quality over quantity, and the FA obviously wants.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, it's the money maker for the FA, isn't it? You get on the FA, you're going to get past. I'll have £1,000 off you, whatever it is for the course. It's one of them, but I'm just got to forget about it. You know, it's a hard one for young lads and that there, but it's happened just before. It'll happen again at some point. It's it's one of them, and I think we finished third. But if we had won that game, which we should have, without being cheated, we would have been ahead of Prada.
Yeah,
and went up, but. It is what it is. It's one of them things. You just keep it in the back of your head, and when we get promoted this year, which I'm confident we will, that when we come to play Prada, that'll be an extra little bit motivation.
There's your motivation there in itself, isn't it?
It will. I mean, and bearing in mind, a lot of the lads in that change room now weren't there that day, but the people around the club will remind them that we owe them one, and we will at some point.
Absolutely. Just moving on, there's a pro select coaching that you've got set up and stuff now. Can you just tell me a little bit about that, please?
When I first came to Blue Star, I was talking to Bessie about coaching and stuff, and I'd always had people it was actually a friend of mine was always on to do one-to-ones with his laddie who was at Newcastle. I was just putting it off. Funny enough, I'd done my badges when I was 20-year-old. I had my UEFA B when I was 20. It's something I did do quite young, and that's thanks to the likes of Rob Atkin, Neil Winskill, all the lads from the development scheme that pushed us into that, and it was a bit of a blessing, really. You know what I mean? It's very, very young to get a UEFA B qualification, but it was one of the best things that I've done. But I hadn't done much coaching while other than at Whickham when I was with Northern League teams, and Bestie mentioned it was, and I thought, you know what, I might just give it a go. So I rang my mate and said, look, I'll do a bit with your laddie if you want. And Bestie's massively supported us with it. And I enjoyed it. It was sort of I'd never really done any coaching kids for a long time. Obviously, as you go up the badges, you UEFA stuff. You're looking at 16-year-olds plus, heading to academies and things like that. So your bread and butter when you start coaching with the kids, all the I do again now, all the mad 5 and 6-year-olds running all over and repeating themselves the times, and you way up the age groups as you go on. I started doing that, and I was enjoying it, and obviously making a little bit of money off it and stuff like that. And then Bessie gives a nudge again, want to do more, and I thought, what is I might as well. I think with lockdown as well, I had a bit of time to plan stuff as well. So then I just went for it one day and thought, I'm just I don't mind seeing it, trying to copying how I learned with the development scheme, because it was a brilliant setup. And I mean, look at all the coaches now at Newcastle who have been there, of John Carvey, Neil Winskills, Ben Dawson, all come from there. That's where they all come from. And obviously there'll be a long list of players as well who came from there. That's how I got into Newcastle and things like that from there. And a lot of our chop rap people like that will have as well. So just using that model and started just doing Saturday morning stuff with the little ones, and just loved it. I've been fortunate as well. The kids I've getting in, obviously the majority of them are local, and they're all just great little kids, and they get on with each other, they help each other out, and we're getting kids into football teams who haven't been in teams, and that's parents ring us saying, sorry, we're kind of come back on a Saturday. I'm not bothered. That's what he came for, and he's achieved it. So that's great. I've got a lad. You'll probably know Lucas Hutchinson. You'll have come across Lucas. He did have the 18s team. He's got younger teams now. He's coaching of us, and he's at uni learning. It's great for him as well. So from there, it's spiralling to helping all the other coaches out at the club and getting some of the young lads in to get a bit of experience and putting summer camps on and stuff like that. So it's a lot of extra stress and time I could have done without, but it's great, and I'm enjoying it, and it keeps us busy. And like I say, it's helping the kids in the area as well. Probably one of the next steps we're looking at as well is one of the next steps is looking at getting more kids in the area involved, because it's no secret it's a kind of deprived area down Scotswood and Benwell and places like that. But the kids love football, and the stuff they've got inside them. A lot of people, you kind of coach that. You have to manage it and box it in the best way you can, and tell the kids how and when to use it. But you only get that from areas where you are deprived, and if we can channel them in the right direction, not just the local area, the club's going to benefit massively as well. So work hand in hand, really. Me little coaching business and Blue Star, and probably next steps looking at going in other places and helping out as well. But like I say, I'm working full time and I'm doing that on top. So
non-stop.
Not take too much on, but it's good, and I enjoy it, and it's helping a lot of people out, and it's helping me and my family out. In a big thanks to Bestie, because if Bestie hadn't have pushed us, I probably would never have done it. And he's been massively supportive to me. And like anyone who knows Bestie, he'll do out for anybody, as long as you you're a canny lad and you do things the right way and the way it should be. And I'm talking about what I'm doing for the local area. And hats off to Bestie, because what he's doing is a million times full of what I'm doing. And that's all come from him and his generosity and his ambition. And the area is going to, it's benefiting now, and it's only going to benefit it a lot more.
Yeah, it is really good. I'll just hand you back over to Ray, mate.
No problem.
Just before we get on the last quick fire questions, really, stop and asking, did you ever play with Stephen Till at Wallsend Boys Club or the Churchill Taught Monk Seating? It looks like he's played a few games around the same time as yourself.
Well, funny enough, Stevie Taylor was in my Newcastle team, so I played with Stephen from about 7, 8-year-old. Which was a school of excellence. Obviously developing the academy later on. I played had a hell of a lot of games with Stevie. Funny enough, Stevie was a forward. One of the
Really?
first Newcastle.
Yeah. Seen that somewhere, yeah.
He was a centre forward. Then they put him at centre half, and then I ended up playing centre half him for a bit because he was. What you got now with Stevie is he was 6'2" when he was 8 years old. So he was, he was a big lad then. So I'd play alongside him because I had my pace. In the rare occasion I did get past him,
Yeah.
I would just carry it up. But then obviously I went up top, and he's went on to have a great career as well, and a great lad as well. One of them who, I mean, I've seen him a couple of times maybe since. He'll come up and say hello to you. You know what I mean? He'll not be one of them where you've got to go, "How's Stevie?" And he doesn't know what to do. He's a top lad, and he's had an excellent career. And yourselves as lads, and you see people do well in football, you're buzzing for them. And there's a lad who would probably thrive in Eddie Howe's team because how much he loved Newcastle, and he would die if it meant Newcastle winning on the pitch. And that's what you like to see when you're a Newcastle fan. And Stevie definitely was, and one of the best servants the club's ever had.
No, he was amazing. And then just last few questions, which are kind of quick fire. The best manager you've worked under? I like these ones.
It would be easy to say the best I've ever achieved things is with Billy, without a doubt. But I loved. I worked under Martin Gray a bit at Darlington with Mick Tate,
Right.
and I just look, and Martin, sorry, is, and people will know this, doesn't hold back. If he's going to tell you something, he'll tell you. But I love that. I love being told straight off people, and I love the work we've done with them and organisation. I learned a lot of me forward runs and movement and things like that with Martin. And actually, the youth team won the league actually under Martin and Mick. So I'd say probably all round. But then again, I was working with Mick, Martin full time, so you got a lot more time than you do in non-league football. But no, I'd say it has to be Billy, really. What we achieved, and it was clever what he did. He made sure he had a good changing room, a changing room that looked after itself. I used to laugh at his team. Before Vase games, we'd go and watch the other team. We knew what he was going to say every time we come back. He's like, all right, he's a bit, you got to keep an eye on him. He's probably went and watched them, and they've been world beaters. But you would never come back and tell her. Just keep an eye on this one or something like that. And it's clever. You learn off every manager, even the bad managers I learn off, And I always say to the kids, when the parents are coaches, like, don't just stay with me, go try other coaches.
Yeah.
Your kids will pick different things up off different coaches, so they'll get sick of me all the time. What I'm telling you, they need to pick different things up elsewhere. That's something we're trying to bring into the club as well, about getting the kids to work with as many different coaches as they can. Yourselves, you'll have some coaches you work with, and as soon as they start talking, you just stop listening. And some coaches who you'll just take stuff off all the time. Martin, from a coaching side of thing, was one of them to me. We learned loads, Martin and Mick. But Billy, for the importance of how important a changing room is. You've got a good changing room, it's half the battle. Since then, I've been in changing rooms where I've been sitting there, like, thinking, what on earth is going on here? And that's when you realise, when you come away from that great environment you've been in, putting different ones. But I two sort of different managers in the way they do things, but both massive help to me over the years.
Yeah, and as a striker, I've got to ask, who is the best centre back you've played against?
I think at the top of my head, I used to have a lot of battles with Bobby Moore, with manager. He's a good player. I found it difficult. You should get kicked all over off Darryl Hall all the time. But funny enough, I always just score past West Oakland. So one of the committee always used to laugh with us, because even if we got beat, I'd score. But I think Chris Mason was always hard to play against. I played with, funny enough, Chris was in my Darlington team. That's where I first met Chris. At the time, it was, I was like I was saying before, like every team we played against, it was hard. There was no one that scared us or intimidated us physically. If you came up against somebody who understood the game, it was hard. Like some Mason and who else I mentioned there? Sorry,
Darryl Hall and Bobby Moore.
When Bobby knew the game well, so you're then trying to find different ways to get around them and get your goals. But it's a lot of the Northern League players were probably playing 4 or 5 leagues below what they should have been at the time because obviously no one taking promotion and stuff like that. So, and I mean, the Northern League is a hell of a lot weaker now. The standard's nowhere near as high, but that's not the lads' fault that's in there. It was naturally going to happen with the teams having to take promotion. But back then, it was pretty much like the Unibond Conference at the standard, and
it was,
and that showed in the runs of the Vase. It was about 10 years in a row. We had a team and everyone won 8 of them. So it was difficult. Everyone you come up against, and they're the ones that stand out where I'd struggle now and then against.
No, great. I was just saying, I think myself as well, let's say before we go, the guests that we're getting on, we kind of build a good little Northern League side ourselves. I mean, we've got obviously Tom Wade on next week as manager. If I had Bully on tonight, striker, we had Gary Brown on a couple of weeks ago, got a Rasher on a couple of weeks as well. We're kind of building a kind of little team ourselves, I think, like on paper.
All team.
Well, Andy, honestly, thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's great just to hear some of the stories and like some of the players, obviously, that I've watched kind of not Northern League a lot over the last 10, 15 years myself, and just mention some of the players there. It just brings back memories, little things when you mention names like that. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. Like you say, when we go out tomorrow, we'll put a link in the comments for you as well about the coaching. So if anyone's watching as well, get yourselves across to check out the coaching. Really mean a lot to myself, Stephen, and the Bully as well. But yeah, thank you lads very much for coming on. Keep tuning in, because I know you're a Newcastle fan as well. So I know we've got our little preview show coming up shortly as well, which we're going to go over yesterday's 2-0 win against Nottingham Forest. Easy. Were you there yesterday? Did you say anything yesterday or highlights?
No, well, we offered Percy Main to play on the Friday,
right?
And they said no, which I didn't ask us why. I mean, whether they thought they were being clever or not, I didn't know. They said there was something related to a load of rubbish. Why on earth you'd not want to go and play Blue Star on a Friday night in front of 1,000 people? I mean, what's your ambition in life? You know what I mean, that's what you play football for. I mean, to be honest, just give me a bit extra motivation because I had my weekend planned. I was going to go and play on the Friday, watch Newcastle on the Saturday. I've got a season ticket. Instead, I've had to. I mean, I'm still happy to go and play on the Saturday, but messed the plans up. My dad was over the moon and he got me season tickets. You
missed a cracking match.
And it's good to see, and it's nice to have a bit hope there as well. Now it's long deserved.
No, really good. Just laughing at the Stockman Stubbs. I know he's mentioned, I think, playing at the same tournament, and Stephen Taylor's favourite food, sausage, baked chips and beans. I can imagine that because he was a funny character. Like
used to be the Wetherby wheel owl on the way back all the time. that was the nutrition. Then as kids come back, and whoever would play that day always stop at Wetherby. Right, what do you want? Fish and chips, sausage and chips. I get that on you.
Class, man. But no, buddy, thank you very much, and I hope it really does go well for you at Blue Star this season. Hope you do get promotion. Like you say, it's going places, and hopefully, like you say, myself and Steve will have come down and watch a few games as well, which we talked about the other day. So we'll try and get ourselves down to a game as well. But again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. A lot of people watching live, which is amazing. Lots of comments coming in. We really appreciate the support, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Hey, thank you, lads. Cheers.
Yeah,